Okay, I think in the interest of time, what we'll do is we'll get started. I want to make sure there's either enough time for answering questions or we've got a chock-a-block full of demonstrations for the session today. I would say the demo gods have not been kind to me this week, so please, if they're not kind to me today, still rate me well as far as the review is concerned. So my name is Ruben Krippner. I'm a Director of Technical Product Management for Dynamics CRM in Redmond. And welcome to the session around document management and collaboration. And largely it's about best practices in the context of CRM. So how do we, in terms of sales, service and management processes, use the Microsoft technologies, including SharePoint and Office and Lync and Yammer, to bring together a comprehensive sort of solution. So the session objectives are as follows. We obviously want to make sure we outline as many of the options as you have between these technologies. Quick show of hands, how many of you are either using or evaluating Dynamics CRM? Fantastic. That's really pleasing. Obviously, SharePoint conference is not necessarily a logical event for our business group, but this is very encouraging. So it's all about showcasing that. It's about discussing best practices or discussing the options based on different types of scenarios that you might have. Then we're going to get into demonstrating actual practical document management and collaboration scenarios across that technology stack. I want to make sure that you don't interpret this as a sales pitch. I don't get any commission if you buy any more Microsoft software, but typically those that have invested in SharePoint have an investment in lots of other Microsoft technologies. So what we really want to show is the art of the possible. Really go through a scenario-focused approach and show you what you can. And obviously we'll drill into the technology. We'll go into a certain level of technical depth around how to sort of configure and customize. I'll talk about what some of the extensibility options are as we go, and obviously happy to answer questions at the end of the session. So our session agenda today is we're going to go through what the options actually are. We'll then go through some collaboration scenario demos. I must add one of them, based on the poor demo god support I've had, I've actually chickened out and done as a demo mate click-through. Don't crucify me for it. The rest of it is real-life software, I swear to God. And then we're going to get into best practices guidance around when to use specific technologies, what some of your options are, and so forth. So quick sort of background in terms of collaboration. It gets used well. I thought I'd go back to the source of all knowledge, Wikipedia, and bring up a definition of what that actually means. But basically, it's how two or more people or organizations get together, work together to realize a shared objective or goal. And it's cooperative in nature. So ultimately, pretty much everything we do. I gave a session on social CRM yesterday. Social is collaboration personified. It's all about just how people get things done. Now, Microsoft as a technology vendor has a great pedigree. In fact, we've founded the entire success of our company on understanding how people work, and we've facilitated tools through Office and Lync and so on that make it easier to do that, to collaborate in very innovative and efficient ways. So what we're saying is that typically collaboration is required. So whether you're in a team sales environment, whether you manage a customer service organization and you need to be able to get your service representatives the answers that they need to solve customers' problems, or whether you're a marketing team that's working around a particular campaign, collaboration is absolutely mandatory, unless you're obviously a very small business. And typically, those things are handled by one person. But most of the time, collaboration is required. And typically, in a large number of processes, collaboration requires document management in order to be successful. So, in terms of the business platform, and this is essentially what we're going to go through many of these elements today. Certainly it's an indication in terms of how we view the world and how Dynamics CRM is actually architected. Obviously Windows is the platform that we base all of our applications on. SQL Server powers our data management, transactional processing, and business intelligence aspects. And then you look at application services that Microsoft bring to the table. And many of you obviously have been hearing about the Yammer acquisition and what that means and how it fits into the roadmap overall. But Yammer is a huge investment and a huge opportunity for Microsoft and for our customers. Microsoft Office, obviously, the ability to manage email, to collaborate around documents, to communicate simply. When you bring into the mix things like Link and Skype, and I'll talk about how that fits into our roadmap moving forward. SharePoint, obviously, is the reason why you're all here in terms of your ability to collaborate around document-centric kind of processes or content management. And then .NET is the extensibility and underlying sort of platform that enables all of these application services. So from a Dynamics CRM perspective, I characterize us as Microsoft's biggest systems integrator. We get the fortune of being able to deal with and integrate all of the innovation that Microsoft brings to market right across our technology stack, probably with the exception of Xbox. Wish we could, because then we'd all get free consoles, but we don't. As far as the devices, we're obviously very keen to support particularly mobility scenarios where people need access to documents, need access to customer information, and really need to be able to work wherever they are. Our focus in Dynamics CRM is to provide that seamless experience. So if I'm on a mobile, I have an optimal experience. If I'm sitting at my desk doing a sales proposal, I have an optimal experience. And if I'm obviously rushing out to buy a Microsoft Surface tablet, which I encourage you all to do, then I'll have an optimal experience there as well. So that's what we term as the unified business platform. So if we look at document management options, so right across the board, Dynamics CRM and our technology stack, obviously SharePoint included, have fantastic capabilities, but they have varying degrees of complexity and they support a varying number of scenarios. So Dynamics CRM has document attachments. It's fairly rudimentary in nature. What it does is it allows you to upload and store a document directly in the CRM database, which is great in the fact that it stores that document in the context of the sales opportunity or the service case or the account or the contact or whatever else it is that you track in CRM. There are some challenges with that approach if you want search capabilities. So we don't offer the ability to go and actually search even for the title of the document. If you know the record that you're working with, it's all contextual and that's great. But there's no search capabilities like SharePoint offers. There's no version control. So if you've got processes around how versions need to be managed, we don't have version control in the solution. And there's limited collaboration. We do task-based, and I'll show you that in just a second. We do task-based processing. So a document gets uploaded into CRM. It can drive a bunch of tasks to be created which sync with the user's Outlook calendars. But it's fairly limited in terms of my ability for multiple people to work on the document at the same time. Then we've got integrated SharePoint document libraries, and this is where it's the first of many investments we're making across the board with SharePoint integration in CRM. I'll talk about that in the narrative a little later. But essentially what happens is that the documents are stored and managed and open up all of the capabilities around content management that SharePoint offers, but it's surfaced contextually against a CRM record. So I can configure rules that say when an account is created or a sales opportunity, go call the API of SharePoint, create a document folder, and give me that location and link that in with CRM. And then we've got a user experience that means when I'm in CRM, I'm oblivious as to where the documents actually are. The beauty, obviously, is that if I go and access the document through SharePoint, I've still got all of that capability. I can still access the document through Office and any other mechanism. And obviously, as we move to web-based editing and authoring tools and capabilities, that also opens it up as well. It's obviously searchable through SharePoint, so I can go and find the documents very easily. It's got full version control, check-in, check-out, all of the great stuff, the content management that SharePoint offers. And it also, most importantly, allows document-centric workflows to be fired on the creation or update or however else you want to manage workflow. The good news is, from an architectural perspective, CRM and SharePoint share the same workflow platform. We're both founded on Windows Workflow Foundation, and while today we don't necessarily have out-of-the-box collaboration between the two workflow systems, there's certainly extensibility options in order to do that through .NET coding. So it's all about allowing you to do much more elaborate document-centric processes directly from within CRM. And then coming soon, Yammer integration. In fact, coming soon as December, we'll actually be offering embedded Yammer capabilities directly within CRM. So the documents are stored in the Yammer conversations. They're still contextual to CRM, so if I open up that opportunity, and I'll show you some click-throughs of that in action a little later on, it's still contextual to the CRM record. It's searchable through Yammer, not quite as elaborate as the search capabilities in SharePoint, but nonetheless it's still able to be found in searching through Yammer. And so it's basic content management. It doesn't have that full, rich set of version control and co-authoring and so on. And obviously from a workflow perspective, there's no workflows available through Yammer. So there's a number of things. Obviously, hopefully as you've heard during the course of the sessions you've attended so far, Yammer and SharePoint are going to become fused together in terms of taking the best elements of the Yammer platform, making that the social layer for SharePoint, making it the social layer for Dynamics CRM, Office 365, and a range of other solutions. So while we have disparate offerings, while we have disparate options for you, over time those things will start to unify. But each of the options that you've got have different levels of complexity and have different suitability for different scenarios, and that's what we're going to uncover today. Obviously, other collaboration options. So from a social perspective, SharePoint 2013 has invested a lot in the SharePoint communities, opening up things like microblogging, the ability to collaborate in very consumer-like experiences of microblogging, those sorts of things. Obviously, Yammer brings the Facebook for the enterprise capabilities directly into an enterprise-class social network. So social is going to become more and more prevalent, certainly in the way that we approach collaboration from a CRM perspective. And certainly the momentum in terms of just business applications all up is that social collaboration is certainly here to stay and very much part of the future. We've got link integration directly embedded into Dynamics CRM. So, and I'll show you this in action in a little while, real-time collaboration and discussion around specific CRM records. I can identify and communicate with the owners, the account managers, the customer service representative who's responsible for a particular process or record within CRM. And as we move forward with Office 365 and we're able to federate with other organizations, it means that you'd potentially be able to liaise directly with customers via the link online construct. So it allows that real-time collaboration, it allows the use of video conferencing, all of that richness, and it's all triggered and seamless directly within CRM. I'll show you that as well. So online meetings means that we can collaborate around documents, we can share our screens, we can use it. And presence embedded both in Dynamics CRM and SharePoint means that I can identify if the author of a document or the owner of a case or an account manager is online, offline, in a meeting, do not disturb, those sorts of things. And it means from a collaboration, an instant collaboration perspective, you can get answers and you can make processes much smoother and more efficient. Coming soon, in fact, in the December timeframe, Dynamics CRM will also be supporting Skype integration, where you'll be able to trigger Skype to phone calls, or you'll be able to trigger Skype to Skype conversations directly from within the CRM user experience. So I'll talk about that once we get there. And then from a mobility perspective, I talk about where we're heading from a Microsoft perspective and understanding that in the world of touch and gesture-based devices, people need access to their customer information, they need access to their documents, they need access to be able to communicate very, very simply. So mobility for Link is obviously offered over a broad range of devices and browsers. SharePoint 2013 has support for mobile browsers across all kinds of devices. And also CRM is offering multiple browser support in the December timeframe across Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox and Chrome. So there's a lot of different ways that you can access that. We're also bringing out mobility experiences for Dynamics CRM, initially focused around iPad and Windows 8. So you've got a lot of capabilities to keep this collaboration and efficiency going regardless of the device or browser that you're on. So technology consideration. So the first thing to point out is that SharePoint or Link is not required, and this comes back to my original point about this not being a sales pitch. None of this software is actually required to install Dynamics CRM. It's there as an option if you want to take advantage of it. Document management integration is supported on SharePoint 2010 and Office 365. So we have both a cloud as well as an on-premise offering as far as your integration into SharePoint is concerned. And we also provide, obviously, Link presence right across that experience. SharePoint 2013 support is going to be added in the December timeframe, so we're just working through some of the nuances around how our list component works with SharePoint 2013, but that will be available as well. And then Skype and Yammer integration is going to be supported in January 2013 timeframe as we roll that out across our data centers. So bringing it all together, what I wanted to sort of focus on was a basic demo scenario that we will come back to and show how it all works together. So Terry's a salesperson from Prosware. He's managing a complex software deal with a prospect, Northwind Traders. He needs to coordinate and manage a V-team, and his objective is to work together to pull together a killer slide deck as well as a killer proposal to maximize the chances of winning the deal. So this is just one illustrative aspect of it. What I thought I'd do is I'm going to basically go through everything that is an option as far as collaboration solutions connecting with Dynamics CRM. So I'll just log into the machine and switch across. There we go there. So for those that haven't seen Dynamics CRM, this is the web client. Dynamics CRM represents the best CRM solution in the marketplace. I apologize if you're not using Dynamics CRM. Hopefully after this session you will be. So the idea is that there's a number of sets of capabilities as far as integration is concerned. So for example, if I'm working on this opportunity, so Terry can actually click into that opportunity. All of the forms and experiences you see here are configurable. A couple of things to sort of point out. First one is that embedded presence capability is directly within it. So I can hook up with the opportunity owner, the account manager. So basically I can set presence on anything that Link is aware of, and I'll show you that in the configuration section. We've also got the ability to do notes and attachments. So I talked about the ability to go and add in documents, or I can put in free-form notes. And this is the one where I actually, if I go and attach a document, it will store this directly within the database. So, and obviously, depending on your requirements and document volumes, you could have a pretty unhappy database administrator if you're loading up CAD diagrams into the CRM database. So that's pretty straightforward. The document's there. I can then work with it. It's contextually linked to that particular, in this case, an opportunity, and it's pretty straightforward. The other thing that I did in this regard, I talked about the concept of task orientation or workload management that CRM suited to. So based on that, what we did was we actually fired a workflow that says, okay, I've uploaded this sales proposal. It creates a task for my manager. So Terry's manager's name is David Alexander. So if I fire that task up, you'll see it's assigned that. We've got the link contextually to the opportunity, so David can drill in, grab the document, and then work with it. So pretty straightforward as far as task allocation is concerned. The thing that's most interesting here is it's creating an Outlook task. So if David wants to access CRM through Outlook, he's got that directly synced into his task list. The same with appointments, the same with emails. So that's the other integration piece that's very, very powerful with Dynamics CRM, is I can access all my customer information through the Outlook standard client. So a couple of other things about just general collaboration. One of the things that we can also do related to a particular record is we can actually have it owned by an individual or a team. So in this regard, the salesperson, we can go in and actually set that to be another user or a team, and I can pick from the range of users in the system or the range of teams. So there could be a regional team. And how that works is that everyone in that team then is notified about the opportunity. They all have the same rights on editing that record, being able to work with that record. Very, very powerful as far as team collaboration is concerned. And then the final thing also that's really relevant as far as sort of a team selling or a team collaboration piece is the concept of connections. So I can go into any record and I can actually define what I want as connections. So in this case, we've got Adam assigned as the pre-sales resource on this deal. Terry is automatically defaulted as the account manager. So I've got this great way on mapping a team. All of the concepts apply in terms of how I can communicate and engage with that person. So it's very, very straightforward to be able to, one, record what my team structure is, and then use the full suite of collaboration tools to make that happen. So we talked about Link. One of the other things that is pretty powerful, and this is something where we start talking about our Office integration, but it has a great collaboration capability built in. So if I go to the opportunities view, so this for Terry Adams is my pipeline. These are all the sales opportunities I'm working on. I can actually go and export this list out to Excel. And once I do that, I can export it out as a static list. I can export it out as a dynamic pivot table. That's kind of not that important. I can do whatever I want in terms of analysis around it. I can do charting. I can do custom formatting. I can do all kinds of things with this data. So let's say that I want to go in. Maybe I'm going to do some conditional formatting. So I can then start to bring that data to life. But where it becomes really powerful is my ability to say, you know what I want to do is actually go and work with my manager around the analysis of this or putting it together as a presentation. And Office 13 gives you the capability to actually, through Share, go and present this online and bring this into the context of a Link meeting. So in this case, I can actually invite my manager. And from that, I can actually go and let me bring that up again. Whoa. So I can then go and invite more people to it, people with my team. So it makes it very, very simple for me with one experience directly from within Microsoft Office to be able to go and collaborate and review information directly with my team or my management chain. So there's just some basics there in terms of how we fit in with Link, how we fit in with Office, how we fit in with some of our workflow capabilities. What I wanted to do was take you through a couple of last things around social collaboration, and then we'll get into the end-to-end scenario and then show you how this is all sort of put together. So if we go back into Terry's dashboard and go into our opportunity again, we introduced in the last update for Dynamics CRM what we call activity feeds. So what you're seeing here, the behavior, is exactly what is now going to be platformed on Yammer starting in the December release. So in this case, I can go and, let's say, looking for financial services skills, please contact me. So very simple sort of microblogging constructs, some nice things that are built in there in that I can actually go and directly trigger link calls there, I can trigger instant messages. So it's all about delivering this into one experience. And then as people go and actually reply to that, it makes it simple for me to keep in touch, ask questions, find expertise, all of those sorts of things that make the reason why social is becoming such a powerful collaboration tool within the enterprise is because we bring these very simple consumer-like experiences into a standard line of business application like Dynamics CRM. So what we're doing is we're actually deprecating this capability and bringing in Yammer. So the experience is the same, the capabilities that Yammer opens up are more elaborate, and that's what I want to show you now in terms of what we're delivering around Yammer integration in the December and January timeframe for our online service. So Yammer, obviously, many of you have been to sessions, hopefully, where we've sort of covered off some of the capabilities of Yammer. The thing about it is, from a CRM perspective, it's about how can I actually go and follow records. So one of the challenges that we have with any employee is keeping on top of what they're responsible for. So if I'm a salesperson, allow me to just follow the accounts that I manage, the opportunities that I'm working on, so I get this feed or stream of information about that particular record. So I can follow what I want, and I filter out what I don't need. Seamless conversation, so that experience that I just showed you of being able to ask questions and receive responses is all part of the standard process. One of the things that we're doing, you'll see the bottom left box there of publishing to the Yammer activity stream. This is where we're starting to use social or Yammer as almost a message bus. So let's say an event occurs within CRM, an opportunity closes, a high priority service case is opened up. What we can actually do is configure rules to publish to Yammer. So anyone who's following that in Yammer will get notifications about particular business events that are going on. It's like when I go into Facebook and I've got my activity stream there and I can see that Girish liked my photo or commented on my status. The same thing, I can go in and see that directly in Yammer in terms of what's going on with the business. And where that ties in nicely is that Yammer, out of the box, offers desktop, different browser and multiple mobile clients, which means that so long as I've followed the right information in CRM, when I'm out on the road, Yammer is acting as the way on keeping me in touch with everything that's going on and enabling me very simply to respond. It's not as cumbersome as email. It's very simple, short messages. I get what's going on. I can keep on top of the situation. It makes me more productive. And then on top of that, the thing I kind of love most is the global search capabilities that allows you to run a search across CRM and Yammer and find all kinds of interesting information. So let's just have a look at the user experience. So this is what we're actually shipping in the December and over the course of January as we roll it out time frame. So you'll see here a sales opportunity. Across the top, we've got our process visualized. So in this case, a 4-stage sales process of qualify, develop, propose, and close. But in the middle, we've got our Yammer feed. So in the same way that I had my social construct that I just showed you, we've now got that capability directly in CRM, and it's just being platformed on Yammer. So people can go in and post as they would within the Yammer client, but it's contextually linked into CRM. So as I go and create a record, behind the scenes it's calling the Yammer API and creating a Yammer page for that record. So it means now that anyone who's in CRM can follow the record. Anyone who's in Yammer can follow the record. They might not have permissions to get into it, but they can follow it. And it also means that it opens it up for global search within Yammer, which makes it very, very powerful. And then you can see that Mary, in this particular case, Paul had actually posted about looking for data on a competitor who shall not be named. There is a response from Mary, who's just a Yammer user, who's attached a document. So straight away, the ability for people to be able to do really simple communication and collaboration and exchange information becomes very, very simple. And again, Mary could have done this from a mobile device, from her desktop, what have you. But it all appears contextually within Dynamics CRM. So it makes it very, very simple. And then most importantly, as these answers are being posted and as these conversations are going on, you're building a knowledge base collectively on best practices, how to solve particular problems, content, those sorts of things. Yes, it's less structured than how you would manage document libraries and so on, but the nature is that people, as they pile onto it, it becomes a more and more valuable resource. So that's certainly one of the aspects of the viral adoption of Yammer that's very powerful for organizations. Then when you look at what the Yammer experience is, so in this case, this user's just logged in into their Yammer web client. That conversation thread that you saw there just appears in their conversation history within the context of everything that they're following and everything that they're interested in. So it's very, very useful from a user's perspective to be able to access that wherever they are. And then, as I mentioned before, on the right-hand side, you'll see that it's auto-posting. So you can configure rules within CRM to say, when this event occurs, go and post this status or this message out to the Yammer activity stream. So it's becoming both an audit as well as a collaboration platform. And then the global search capability is incredibly powerful. So simply putting in a search term of CRM brings back related people, Yammer groups that might have been started up around particular subjects, documents that have referenced that particular keyword. But down the bottom, it's also returned back that Yammer page for that sales opportunity in CRM. So it makes it incredibly easy to go and find all kinds of information. This becomes, like I said, this becomes a really valuable knowledge base. In fact, we're internally, certainly in my team, in the Dynamics CRM team, is using Yammer just for that purpose. We've actually said to our community, please don't send us emails with questions. In fact, if you do, we'll ask you to put that question into Yammer so that everyone can collectively share and be able to search across the answers that we provide or documents that we post. So it becomes a very powerful concept there. So let me get into the demo and some of the pieces around what that end-to-end scenario looks like. I'm also going to take you through a journey on where we're heading in the Windows 8 timeframe and what that looks like and how it works in with collaboration capabilities. And so let me, first of all, switch into my, like I said, this is the one piece of non-live software that I'm showing today. So the idea is, again, we're Terry Adams. I'm going to go and work on this particular opportunity, and I can drill into documents. And so this is what this contextual document library looks like for the CRM user. So they're oblivious at the fact that these documents are actually living and being stored within SharePoint, in this case SharePoint Online. And of course, because you can configure all the workflow rules that you want on those document libraries, it's just going to be able to manage all kinds of different content management processes. So the first scenario was that he wanted to be able to actually go and pull together a fantastic sales presentation. And another great collaboration capability of SharePoint, certainly SharePoint Online, is the ability to actually bring together or publish slide libraries. So I don't know how many of you guys are sort of using that capability, but it's incredibly powerful to say, you know what, I'm going to set up a slide library. My users are actually able to go and look at this content, and then from there they're able to go and bring in different slides from predefined templates directly into their presentation. And because you've got all of the content management and co-authoring capabilities, it makes it really simple for people to pull together, for salespeople, to pull together really powerful presentations that form best practices or have the very latest content. One of the challenges that before we started using this at Microsoft was we do hundreds and hundreds of presentations every week. And so what we've done now is set up slide libraries. That means I've always got the latest facts and figures. I've always got the latest architectural diagrams. I've always got the latest marketing message to be able to bring that together. So these are the constructs that you can provide in a really simple sort of PowerPoint experience. So once that's done, again, going and saving that document, closing it down, that's now stored directly in SharePoint, but again, the CRM user is oblivious to that experience. And on top of that also, you've obviously got all of the presence and link capability if you want to collaborate in real time with that user. Let's have a look at the sales proposal. That was the other thing that Terry wanted to work on from a team perspective. So again, grabbing that document directly from SharePoint. In this particular case, it's informing us that Jim Hance, so on the bottom left, that another user, Jim Hance, maybe from our legal team, wherever, is actually already working on the document. And this stuff you just get as part of your, in this case, subscription to SharePoint Online. So I can now actually go and communicate directly with Jim. I can start instant message, phone calls, those sorts of things. So we can start to have a conversation about, okay, Jim, can you have a look into the intro section? And so, he replies blindingly fast, obviously, because of the magic of click-throughs. And then from there, that conversation goes on. I didn't want to drag on and say, how was your weekend, etc., but you can do all of that stuff. So the idea is that it makes it really simple in real time for two people to be working on different sections of a very complex document. And when you consider in a complex sales environment, this becomes massively powerful to make sure that you can, one, farm out the different sections of a document, but be confident that you can be working on the document at the same time and being aware. So as we go through into Terry's work there, he can see that updates are available, and when he clicks on that, he'll actually be aware of it. So highlighted in green, it will show what Jim's actually been working on. And obviously in this case, we also need tons of cash, so that's not something he wants to read. But the idea is that he can highlight that section, have a discussion in real time about that particular piece, maybe warn Jim that it's not a good idea to sort of say we're going to need tons of cash in our proposal. But really straightforward sort of capabilities. And again, it's just stored within the SharePoint library. So the beauty is, one, it's a simple experience for the user that hooks up and brings all of these collaboration tools together. But for SharePoint, you can still preserve all of the capabilities to drive signature workflows, to drive document approval workflows that are all just out of the box with SharePoint. So the second part of it is David Alexander, who's Terry's boss, now through SharePoint workflow has been given a proposal to actually go and review. And again, straightforward. The beauty of this, what I was actually going to show you before the demo gods intervened, was I can access this off an iPad or any other kind of mobile device where that manager can review that document very, very simply. They can make their comments, they can either sign or maybe reject or approve the document, and that workflow process can continue to run as it always has. So what we're saying within a CRM perspective is we don't want to reinvent the wheel. In fact, we want to harness all of the capabilities that Microsoft are bringing to table with SharePoint and allowing you as SharePoint customers today to continue to leverage that, but leverage it in a very contextual fashion with your users and your processes. So let me now sort of go into some of the aspects around how that how those things are sort of architected, how we pull them together, and how you configure them. So to do that, what I'm going to do is log out and log back in as an administrator. So again, CRM is just through the standard Office 365 experience where I can go in and sign in as a user, and I've got access to both my . As I built this demo, I realized the world's longest URL or user account is not the best way to go. So on microsoft.com.bepatient.au. So that then takes me obviously into the Office 365 portal, and then from there I've got access to both my SharePoint site, Document Gods, thanks very much. Let's try CRM. And so once I'm in there, because I've been granted administrative privileges, I can go in and do a number of things. So let me take you through some of the aspects that I showed you functionally before. So in the Processes section, this is where we go and configure all of the workflows, and we've also got scripted or guided workflows, which we call dialogues. In this case, what I'm going to do is deactivate this workflow, and I'll show you how that works and the tool set that's available. Very, very straightforward. By the way, you can go and edit these workflows using Visual Studio in the same way that you can edit any other sort of workflow within .NET or Windows Workflow Foundation. So I'm going to bring up my workflow definition here, and it's really straightforward. It's basically saying on create of a note, then what I want to do is I'm going to do a quick check. And what I'm saying in this regard is if the note contains a document and it's related to a sales opportunity, then what I want you to do is go and create a task. And that task allows me to insert all kinds of content into it, such as here's what I want the body of the task to be. I can use what we call slugs to insert content from CRM. So in this case, I'm personalizing or giving context to the task to say, please review this document for opportunity blah. I can also say, hey, it's linked into this particular sales opportunity, and I want it to be assigned to the manager of the salesperson who owns that particular sales opportunity. So it's really, really straightforward, and then I can even set the due date to be 2 days after the time that this workflow fires. That gives them a due date. And again, the power of that is that it just synchronizes directly into the Outlook task list for that particular user. So that's really straightforward. Once I'm finished with that content, all I do is go and activate that. That workflow is then live, and people can start using that particular process. Conversely, on the present side, if we go into our solution here, and this is where you bundle up all of the configurations for CRM, what I want to do here is go in and actually configure presence for a particular view. So, and it's really, really straightforward. So if we go into our entity, let's say, of account, and I go into the views, so these are the different definitions of the lists that you can actually see. So if I go into my default view of my active accounts, it will bring up a list of all of the fields that I've got within that particular view. And in this case, primary contact, if I change the properties on that, I can enable presence for that column. And that's as tough as it gets. The system automatically picks up if the user's got Link installed, and if they've got Link installed, by enabling that presence on that field, it will open that up and give you that presence bubble that allows you to then trigger all of those actions. So it's really not difficult at all. And in fact, everything that I've shown you here is pure configuration. There's nothing that you need to write code in order to make that happen. Now, if you want to do more sophisticated workflows, or you want integration capabilities when certain events occur in CRM, push data out to another system, that requires custom coding. But there's a lot of stuff that you can just achieve through pure configuration. And the other beauty from an IT management perspective is the SharePoint administrator continues autonomy in terms of the SharePoint processes that you want to drive, the workflows that you want to create, and how you want those processes to run. But there's that sort of loosely coupled connection with Dynamics CRM. Let me show you just how to set that SharePoint configuration up as well. So if we go into our, again, it's just in the system settings, within document management, this is where we go in and we actually define whether or not we're going to use document management. So what it will do is it will give us some options around basically switching it on, and you can switch it on for any record type within the system, including any custom ones that you add yourself. So you could track bank accounts or grants management or projects or whatever you want. You can configure the data model, but you can also hook up contextual SharePoint document libraries to that, and it will just work as soon as you enable that. And you can also nominate, obviously, what you want your base SharePoint site to be. You can also have multiple SharePoint sites. So you can actually, based on different record types, go and point it at different SharePoint libraries or different SharePoint sites. So if you've got a dispersed way on managing content, you're able to manage that as well. Maybe you've got a certain area within CRM, within account management that you need, maybe another one for customer service. You can go and link all of that accordingly. So the thing that also ties this all together and gives that seamless experience is the list component. So that's the thing that effectively drops into the CRM form. It looks like a CRM form, but it's in fact liaising and working directly in with SharePoint. So, and it gives you all of the capabilities of a document library directly in the CRM experience. So I can add documents, create new ones, and it will pick up all of the content types that you've defined. I can open the SharePoint side if I want to. I can check in and check out. All of that stuff is all available directly in the CRM experience. Now, if I'm a SharePoint user, it's very familiar. If I'm a CRM user, it's very familiar and contextual. So, and then obviously on top of that, the ability to just go and configure SharePoint workflows is unchanged. The tooling is no different than what you're used to today to be able to go and do that. So there's a lot of things that you can do. By the way, the list component works both on-premise and online. So it will work with Office 365, it will work with your on-prem SharePoint, SharePoint 2010, and soon to be SharePoint 2013. So that's kind of the key elements in terms of the overall setup capabilities and the types of things that you would look to do to enable those things. What I wanted to do was actually switch over and show you what that experience looks like when we move into the Windows 8 world. So what I'm about to show you is a concept demo that we've put together. It's based on what we're going to be delivering in the Q2 timeframe of calendar year 2013. So I'll just log into the machine. And switch across. So obviously the key value proposition again around Windows 8 is that I can tie my personal and my professional life together. We've also included in this case what we term the sales workspace that enables, in this case, a salesperson to have a view of what's important to them and a canvas of the things that they're managing and the documents that they're responsible for. I've got obviously all my productivity applications. I can see the fact that it's raining and cloudy in Bellevue and Redmond again, and I've got all my calendar, pictures, and all of that sort of stuff. So if we drill into the sales workspace, really simple set of capabilities. So on the left-hand side, you've got my social feed. This is everything that we're receiving and summarizing from Yammer. So when we ship this, this will all be based on Yammer. So we've got information that my manager's posted, latest information and relevant details about what's going on in that social world, where I've been mentioned, the things that I'm following, the things that I'm responsible for. I've then got my sales pipeline, which is all of the sales opportunities that I'm working on. We've got embedded BI capabilities, the activities that I'm responsible for as part of my sales role, which, by the way, is also synced with Exchange Server as well, the accounts that I manage, and various other pieces of information as well. So if we look at, let's say we want to drill into an opportunity. So from a collaboration perspective, what we're doing here is bringing together, again, in a Windows 8 experience, we're bringing together things like Skype and Link. We're bringing together those document libraries that I showed you. and we're making that into a very seamless and touch and gesture optimized fashion. So in here I've got my social feed, which is powered by Yammer. I've got the same ability that I showed you before to be able to make posts, to be able to have that contextual threaded conversation. I've got my sales process visualized, and my ability, some of the investments we're making is around simplifying that team selling capability, as well as simplifying how you go and add products in. And this becomes very important in the context of SharePoint documents. So let's say, for argument's sake, I want to go in and add a product into this sales opportunity. As I start to type, it finds things from our product catalog. I can put in a quantity there and add that. So what it's doing, first of all, is obviously the basics around adding a product. What it's also doing is on the left-hand side, it's proactively setting some activities. But on the right-hand side, it's automatically provisioning content types directly from SharePoint. So these will be configurable rules that you will say, based on a certain product or a certain event occurring within the system, automatically go and provision those documents. Now, you can accomplish this today through building what we call plugins. And plugins are custom .NET assemblies that you can build and drop into our architecture based on particular events. But this allows you to actually configure that rather than having to write code to do it. So as we move forward, there's probably about 80% of everything that I've shown, this included, will be enabled via configuration. So we're really reducing the amount of code to be focused on the things that are most critical, such as integration with other line of business apps and so forth. But that's one aspect in terms of it. And you'll also see that my social feed has been updated with the fact that these products have been added into it. The other thing that we can also do is we can go in and we can assemble our team. So as I go in and add team members, we've got the capability, and unfortunately, guys, this is because of our resolution has come unstuck. Thank you, demo gods. So, but I can do filtering based on those people that are successful with this product, those people that are successful with this particular customer. And then what I can do is actually go and drag people into particular roles with that simple click or touch fashion. So as I do that, my team is assembled, it's reflected in my social feed, so again, anyone who's following or subscribing to that will keep up to date with what's going on with that particular opportunity, and it's really, really straightforward. A couple of things I need to point out. One, so this is shipping in the Q2 timeframe of calendar year, so sort of the May-June timeframe of next year. The other thing is that we're not signaling that Windows 8 is mandatory for CRM. I don't want to give that impression. Windows 8 offers some fantastic mobile and touch and gesture-based experiences, but we're continuing to preserve our capabilities within Outlook, we're continuing to support our capabilities in browsers, and we're opening up more mobile support as well. What we are saying is that as the rest of Microsoft and ourselves move forward and start to look at what Windows 8 and the modern user experience looks like, these are the types of concepts that we're going to be delivering, and we're going to be delivering these certainly within the next sort of 6 or 7 months. So that's the other piece. The final piece that I wanted to show was the ability to trigger conversations. So obviously I can go and trigger instant message, but I can also go and trigger phone calls to our primary contact, in this case through Skype. I can be taking notes while I'm actually on the call, taking notes, whatever I want to, and the ability then to be able to see that reflected directly within my social feed. So you can start to see the importance of that social feed for people to be able to keep on top of the situation. So we're really bringing all of these experiences together. Like I said, productivity and collaboration capabilities are key, and Microsoft has a huge array of tools, many of which you've already got investments in. From a CRM perspective, we're just bringing those into context as part of a business process. So let me close out for the session. So best practices. So in terms of those capabilities I showed you with CRM document attachments or Yammer. So where you're looking at a limited number of contextual documents, certainly, like I said, the more that you push in, the potential for performance degradation if you're storing it directly in the CRM SQL database. If you are able to, if you're comfortable with just finding documents as they relate to particular records in CRM, and you're not looking for broad search capabilities, and from search I also mean actually content inside the document itself. So if deep document collaboration is not required, if you can do it via a task process, then CRM document attachments or Yammer are fantastic. Contextual SharePoint document libraries, obviously many of you are already using it for your content management needs. So it's where you've got large numbers of documents, very complex document sort of processes. You want full searching of documents and content. You want version control capabilities. And it's really where your processes are very document-centric versus people-centric. So that's the advice around best practices there. So in summary, Dynamics CRM can really help bring out the best in your Microsoft SharePoint and Microsoft Office and collaboration toolset investments. Keep using SharePoint for what you use it for today, but use it contextually within CRM. There's the common foundation of Windows Workflow Foundation. So if you have developers or partners who have .NET expertise in there, their ability to go and extend workflows within CRM is a consistent experience and a consistent skill set, and allows you to start to talk across systems as well with workflow processes. Cloud or hybrid options are available, and obviously from a mobility perspective, we've got great capabilities today, and we're really moving forward in the future. A couple of useful resources there: the SharePoint list control if you're a CRM customer today and you want to take advantage of it. Dynamics CRM if you want to find out more, crm.dynamics.com, and obviously Yammer at yammer.com. So with that, we've finished pretty much on the hour. I'll be around for any questions, or we can take them at the mic, but enjoy the rest of your conference. Hope this has been useful.